Dreams
so.
and Madness. Episode 7 of Ahsoka down. One more episode to go. Before this episode started, which you can go watch our full watch along with it right now. But before this episode started, we said, let's hope that they can stick the landing on these last 2 episodes. TJ, we got another episode down. Only one more to go. Do we still feel like they are bringing us in for a soft landing of nailing the ending of the show? Or where are we feeling after this episode?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was another strong episode. Maybe not as good as the first one, or the previous one. But still a solid episode. You know, for me, there was just some moments that didn't quite work, like you heard me say, like that one where she comes in on the horse and they freeze it for like a second.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, but just start going. Don't don't stop there. Just some like clunky things like that didn't quite work for me. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Again, I'm very interested to see again what Baylan is doing. Where'd he go? He fought Ahsoka, then Ahsoka left, and he was in deep thought for about a minute.
Yeah.
And then we don't see him again for the rest of the episode. So really interested to see that. I felt like the chemistry between Sabine and Ezra was a little bit better this episode after what we were left with in the previous episode.
Yeah.
And then just more Thrawn. Nice to see him kind of tactically, like you said, moving around the chess pieces, looking at this kind of digital board and seeing how everything, moves with each other. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, let us know. What did you guys think that are watching right now? Let us know if you just joined us after finishing the episode. Let us know what you thought of this latest episode of Ahsoka or Ahsoka in general. Throw it in the chat. We will read it out on screen. Make sure to hit subscribe too while you're hanging out here with us. I think I liked the episode maybe a little bit more than you. Not that I don't think you liked the episode.
Right.
I just think some of that stuff didn't hamper me at all, as much. But that being said, I definitely still felt that. I think even a problem, just a thing I've noticed, a thing that people have noticed in this show is that sometimes beats do linger a little long.
Yeah.
But again,
I think more definitely with Hu Yang when he drove by in the ship.
Yeah, and he didn't have a line or anything. It was just like, yeah. I wish he had a little like.
Yeah.
I really liked it overall. I liked that we saw both Anakin Skywalker and his creation, C-3PO. What did you think of C-3PO and Mon Mothma and that whole opening scene? Because I think you can go really sideways with a 3PO cameo in Star Wars, and I think they handled it very well. I think it was just enough. It served a reason and a purpose, and then that was it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked the whole kind of, coming in, say, again, that guy, I forget what that senator's name is or whatever. He's being an ass. He's being an ass.
Yeah.
And again, this comes back to like the whole, I think it was 2 episodes ago when they were trying to get Hera back.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like yelling at the screen. You're like, you're literally making the same mistake that you did all those years ago. Like, why are you being so dumb? Like, but yeah, like you said, I feel like C-3PO coming back, that served a purpose for him coming back. And it was 5 minutes maybe, and then he's gone.
Yeah,
probably won't see him the rest of the. I would be shocked if he showed up in the next episode. But yeah, it worked for me.
I would be shocked if he ever showed up again in any of these shows ever. Like I think it was literally just like, man, wouldn't it be great, like behind the scenes writing wise? Wouldn't it be great if we could have Leia come in? Well, we can't do Leia. Let's have 3PO come in as on her behalf. That's perfect. Let's do it
with a little message disc.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, who's the one person that knows Mothma well enough, knows Hera well enough, has enough clout basically, because Leia's a general just like Hera, but Leia is also a senator and a senior senator at this point, and it's like. So I really liked that. I liked the little tiny nod to Bloodlines, the book, where they said that she was the head of the Defense Council.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. I see this thing online that's like, Filoni has said over and over that the only thing that are canon to him is the shows and the movies, and it's like that's not what he said at all. There's that interview that he said, George always taught me the way that he looked at it back in the EU days, back in like the 2000s and stuff, he said the way that he always told me was that, you know, just the movies and the TV shows are canon. He's not talking about this new stuff where it's all supposed to be part of it. Those are comments that were before Disney even bought them. And so and you do see like all these nods to these books and stuff, and the fact that Thrawn, you know, last episode he says, give me her planet of origin, her, you know, this, her that, her master. And then as soon as he gets the date of this episode, I said it before he even did. I was like, the first thing, if they're tracking this character correctly, the first thing he should point out is, oh my God, this is Anakin's Padawan, because Thrawn knows him. He knows Anakin, and even more so intimately, he knows Darth Vader. You know, they were coworkers for you know, a couple years there. But I just loved that, and I love that feeling of just like consistency. And again, too, I don't know if it was just the angles or the lighting. I felt like Thrawn looked better this episode than he did the last episode. I thought that he was fantastic, and I loved, and I think this is fair, I think some people last week were saying, you know, Thrawn's kind of whole thing is that he's very Sherlock Holmesy, and it's like, he always has, whether it's the books with, like, the new books with Eli Vanto, or whether it's the old books with Pelion, like, he's always got to have that guy with him that's like, are you sure, Thrawn? And he's like, let me tell you why you're an idiot. And Morgan did that this episode. She was like, what are you talking about? All I see is our enemies reunited. And he's like, let me show you what I see. Like, oh my God. I was just like, as soon as he did that, I was like, they are nailing this guy. It's just giving me confidence in the future. And sure, was this singular episode the best of the series? No. When I'm counting up all 8, because there's been so many great ones, will this maybe be in the second half? Maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, the fact that I can call the bottom half of the list still pretty good episodes is crazy for this show. I mean, and it shouldn't be crazy, but it's just, I'm constantly like, man, I feel like everybody in the Star Wars fandom and everything, and us too, you know, we were kind of we were excited, but it's kind of like a brace for impact of like, man, 8 weeks, if this does not come out good, it's like, this could be rough. Like, look at Secret Invasion. By week 3, I didn't give a shit anymore. By week 6, I was getting caught up 2 weeks at a time because I was just like, oh my God. Like, we were not doing these streams for Secret Invasion. But I don't know. I really liked it, but overall, I think more so what this episode did for me was just give me even more confidence going forward. Just that, like, they are setting up these pieces, and so far for me, I think they're nailing it.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I really want to know. And
where in the world is Balin's skull?
I want to know where Balin is. I want to know what's in those frickin'... What is this cargo?
Yeah.
They're making it...
Well, last episode, he did specifically say casket.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they look like coffins, but he specifically... Or I think Enoch maybe specifically said casket.
Now, watch it just be like, you know, whatever, but...
Yeah.
I feel like they're making it a point to be like... Oh, look at everybody moving these things. Yeah. Oh, look at this saying where he says, "Oh, we're almost you know, done transferring the cargo."
Yeah.
Like, obviously they're transporting something. Again, that was a big joke about saying like, "Oh, let's go to Exegol." Hopefully, I hope that's not what happens.
Yeah. Now that we have the last of our Sith zealots loaded,
yeah. Where is there a stadium somewhere that we could put them?
Yeah, if only there was enough infrastructure somewhere. It would be like a big trapezoid looking building.
Yeah,
I don't
know. What's the I always forget the girl's name.
Morgan. Elsbeth? Yeah.
Morgan. No. The
Shin.
Yeah.
Shin Hati.
You know, I like where we're at with her, where she's kind of like in between.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe not her kind of coming, you know, to the we're going to be good now, but maybe just kind of staying in that middle.
Yeah.
Where kind of, and again, I wouldn't really classify.
Like you said, where Balin is.
I wouldn't classify him as either side.
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of just. He's on the Thrawn side currently to kind of get to his ends, and I think maybe that's where she can end up. Because I don't know, I just don't I just hate the whole like, because they've just done it's just been done to death obviously, where it's like, well, I'm bad, but well, now I'm good, and obviously, I don't know if everybody's ever heard my whole thing with. Again, this is like one of the small ones with Battlefront 2, but I hated that when she started off bad and then she ended up good. I was like, no, just leave her bad. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, like I said, I think I was definitely super on board with the don't turn either of them.
Yeah.
But then I was...
especially not bad. No.
Yeah, but once I got to know them, I was like, I could see this guy making a turn to be like, this is not... But that was more just a initial meeting of his character being like, oh, this is what I think it should be. But like what you said, now I don't think he would turn good because I don't think in his mind he needs to turn good.
Yeah.
I think in his mind he's just who he is. He is Balin. He used to be a member of the Jedi Order. Now he still has.
And I feel like his whole kind of thing too, where it's like, again, him saying like he loves the idea of the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like. I feel like what he was saying where he said that he was kind of like, I love like what it. I think where he said what it stands for. Or maybe he said.
I think he said I missed the idea of it. I missed
the idea of it, but I could see him
what it meant or something.
Yeah, but I could see him being like, but I don't like say like the practices, all that stuff, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I could see him kind of being in that, like we said, middle lane. And it's cool to see more characters like that too, because it gives different perspectives and stuff like that.
But I definitely now where we're at. I think what it is because I really like the like confusion that Shin has had of like she doesn't really know what she is, and I think the only thing that she knows is that her guiding star is Balin. And now if Balin's being like, you gotta go on your own and make your own decisions, I think like you said, it's not like, oh, I'm a good guy now, because she didn't take Ahsoka's offer, she ran away. But I think it's like well, if this guy that I've just been like, well, I'm just following his lead, all of a sudden is gone, it's the first time she's ever thinking to herself, oh, what lead do I follow, or do I make my own? So I think it could just be they could maybe even just team up next episode just purely on we need to all get back. We like, I'm not going to be stranded here, then I guess we'll have to work together type of thing. I think that's very possible. I think one of the unless there's some other stuff that we think about. I think
there's one thing that just kind of popped in my head. So when Sabine like offers Ezra his lightsaber back, do you think him saying he didn't want it was kind of like he says, oh, you've been training with it, like you keep it, or do you think he's kind of I got the hint again? This might be like a crazy thing, but I feel like I kind of got the hint where it's like he's just fighting full force now, like he's not, and again, he hasn't had a lightsaber for however many years he's been there. Yeah. So maybe he's, lost a little bit of a step, obviously. But I almost got like a feeling that he's like a non-lightsaber fighter now. I don't know if that's like even a thing. Well, but, I mean, like, and I think it goes both ways, because it's like she's been training with it, so obviously he's gonna be like, well, you keep it because you've been using it. But it just kind of felt like it was more of a back and forth. So I felt like it was more than just that.
Well, I think there's a really good chance to say like that they can like complement each other in battle, of like if you have him only using the Force with no lightsaber and her only using the lightsaber with no access to the Force, I think that's like a really cool concept. But also I think just in practice, I think he has had now 11 years basically of just training up his Force abilities and not his lightsaber. And I was just thinking of a joke about it, but the skill trees in Fallen Order and in Survivor, it's like he's maxed out his Force one and has been neglecting his lightsaber stances. Right. But then I thought more realistically, if he is like a Force only or primarily Force fighter, how cool would it be? And sure, he was pushing people and knocking people around and knocking people into each other. I would love to see some of the more intricate Force powers from those games be in here. Like maybe he like does a quick this, and then maybe one of the troopers turns on the other troopers or something. Yeah. I was just thinking about like if that is like that's what I've been practicing, and like I'm just max Force abilities.
Yeah.
Show me some of the different ones or so. You know what I mean? I think that would be awesome. Or like just like force levitating like a ion grenade into the middle of them or so. Just like cool shit like that. That's more than just like a force push.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because the way, if you think about it, just what we've seen through all like movies, shows, you can definitely fight without a lightsaber.
Absolutely.
If you're like in tune, we've seen Vader.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Vader with Reva.
Like
he fought her with no lightsaber at all.
So that'd be really cool. If that is what happens, I think that'd be really cool. And to me, again, it makes sense. He hasn't had one and he's kind of built this up where it's like, well, I don't really need it.
And like you said, I don't need it. Like I think it's just as simple as that. Is like he thinks he feels that he's confident enough to do that. Now, what do we think is going to happen with? Let's close out with the finale in general. Just the finale.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation with every single Disney show, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel, whether it's animated or live action. Is one episode enough to wrap this up?
Yeah. I think right now, like, I think like the end will just, Thrawn will be back and maybe they'll finally, believe what Hera's been saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens to our band of characters right now, but I think obviously Thrawn definitely makes it out of this galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know. I feel like there's a chance maybe Balin kind of obviously doesn't join them, but I feel like maybe he just goes his own way. I don't even know. The thing though, like we still don't know like what he's like
after.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like I feel like saying for him to go his own way just doesn't make much sense because then there's no closure with that.
Yeah. I think to start off with, for what I hope for the finale, I think unlike almost every other one of these shows, except for maybe like Mando season 1 and 2, which you pretty well figured. Season 1, I feel like they were just like, oh, it's just gonna be that big standoff, and then season 2 was like, we know a Jedi is gonna show up. Other than those two, this is the one, and I'm including every single Marvel show, and I do think that Loki like stuck the finale and stuff like that. I think things have, but talking about that penultimate episode, this is the most confident that I've been, because I know, with the episode lengths, we know that next week is not going to be 32 minutes. We know it's going to probably be like 45, maybe 55. Some of the episodes have been 55 minutes, but they've mostly been 45 minutes. So you have that where you just sheerly have more runtime in your finale. But also, I think this show kind of built in knows, the audience knows this is going to end on an oh shit moment. This is not going to end on a like, and then we all made it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think they all could make it back, and I think they probably all will make it back. But it will not be a happy making it back. It'll be I think we made it. Oh shit. And then the Chimera comes in overhead and just torches everybody or something. I think it's going to be something like that. And then I think really the only loose thread that we have is what's going to happen with Shin and what's going to happen with Balin. I think everything else is pretty well, the groundwork is laid. We kind of know where everything's at. Like, you could very easily be not having this positive conversation if you say that we just got introduced to Thrawn and Ezra right now in this last scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But instead, we've already gotten 2 full episodes with those characters being in it.
Right.
Realistically, Thrawn 2 full episodes, but Ezra had a couple scenes last week, and then this episode he was all over it. And then also Anakin being back too. I thought that was really nice. But I'm positive. I'm confident on the finale. I think it'll nail it. I really do.
So am I. It's funny. Brandon's been trying to catch up with some shows, and he's not on to Ahsoka yet, but he was finishing up Boba Fett, and I was like, honestly, like, if you want to skip Boba Fett, I was like, there's 2 good episodes, and they're not even Boba Fett episodes.
Yeah.
So I'll be actually very interested to see when he gets to this show, even though like he hasn't watched Rebels really. I think he's watched some Clone Wars. I forget. But I'll be interested to see what he thinks. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it'd be hard not to stick the landing with what they've built up so far. and going, like you said, maybe around a 55-minute episode to tie everything together. I think this could be a really solid season 1. And I hope they stick the landing, because it would be very disappointing if they do not.
I mean, like, to me, honestly, I think really because of what they've given us and where we're going and everything like that, I think it'd be really hard to fuck it up. Because really all you got to tick off your boxes is what's going on with Shin, what's going on with Baylan, have Thrawn and everybody get back to the main galaxy, and have one big crazy thing that Thrawn does to make him be this, like, crazy threat. Mm-hmm. And then you just close out the season. And that's it. Like, I feel like they really have their job well made for them. And I believe next week's episode is going to be directed by Rick Famuyiwa.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, obviously, all of his episodes are incredible. You know, he's one of the Bryce Dallas Howard ones that's just, like, anytime he steps in to go behind the camera on one of these episodes, is fantastic. And I know he's executive producer on Mando. He's a producer on this. So I'm very excited for that. And obviously just an incredible filmmaker. And I do think the strongest episode of the season is still episode 4, which was Peter Ramsey's episode, which was just the one on Cetos where they were fighting, and all the one right before the World Between Worlds and everything. Okay. And I think the World Between Worlds one is the second best. I think it's fantastic. I just think episode 4 was like the Baylan Ahsoka fight and the emotions and everything like that. I just thought like everything was like so finely tuned and well crafted and everything. So I'm super excited for next week. But yeah, I'm just thrilled that we got another great show to go up there with
Andor.
You know, yeah, like honestly, it's like Andor. Well, let's be fair, you know, most of the Mandalorian, but like Andor, Ahsoka, Bad Batch, you know, most of Bad Batch, especially the second half of both seasons of Bad Batch, just some of the best Star Wars storytelling that we've gotten. So I think so far, I really do think still then Disney Plus's Star Wars output is still better than not. You know what I mean? Because it's still one season of Mando, one season of Boba Fett, and one season of Kenobi that have been like questionable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything else has been varying levels of good. And we got Acolyte, we got Skeleton Crew, stuff coming up.
I can't wait for that show.
Yeah, and Skeleton Crew apparently this year or the end of this year. So with the strike, we'll see if that still stands. But we got a lot of stuff coming up. But yeah, let us know, what did you guys think of episode 7 of Ahsoka, titled Dreams and Madness? What's going on with Baylan? What's going on with Shin? Is Thrawn going to kill a bunch of people? Are they loading Night Sister bodies in because the Night Sisters want to come back and be the main force power in the galaxy now that the Jedi and Sith are gone? What's going on with that? Let us know down below. While you're down there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this video with an Ahsoka fan. Come back. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be posting this review out by itself. So if you just joined us for the review, thank you so much. And if you're joining us for Planet Film Live, thank you so much again. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been your host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please follow us on our social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Join next week for the season finale for our watch along and our review afterwards.